tears, whispers, and a secret that could change everything. This is not the perfect wedding day Georgie dreamed of. In the premiere of Heartland Season 19, what begins as the happiest moment of her life quickly turns into something far more complicated. The wedding that was meant to unite hearts and families leaves everyone asking one question. What truth was hidden beneath Georgie's tearful smile? The golden morning sun stretches over the wide fields of Heartland Ranch, turning the land into a canvas of light and hope. For years, fans have watched this ranch carry stories of love, loss, and resilience. And now it prepares for a day unlike any other. It is Georgie's wedding day, the moment that many thought might never arrive. The fences are decorated with fresh wildflowers, the barn hums with quiet preparations, and the air is heavy with anticipation. Yet behind all the beauty, there lingers a question, one that no ribbon or bouquet can hide. Is Georgie truly ready for this step? Georgie Fleming Morris has always been more than just another character in Heartland. Her story began as a young girl searching for a place where she belonged, and through struggles, triumphs, and years of growth, she found herself at Heartland. She discovered her passion in horses, built unshakable courage through competition, and slowly pieced together a life where love and family stood at the center. For fans, her journey has been inspiring, not only because of her victories, but also because of the moments when she nearly gave up, only to rise stronger each time. That is why this wedding carries so much weight. It is not just about vows or rings. It is about everything she has endured to arrive here. As the family prepares for the ceremony, emotions ripple quietly through the ranch. Lou, ever the organizer, makes sure every chair is aligned, every flower perfectly in place, determined to give Georgie the day she deserves. Amy, with her calming presence, stays close, offering comfort without many words. Just the kind of steady support Georgie has always leaned on. Jack, standing on the porch with his weathered hat pulled low, watches the ranch come alive. In his eyes, Georgie is still the little girl who once arrived here, uncertain and lost. And yet, he sees now the woman she has become, ready to begin a new chapter. The atmosphere seems perfect, yet it carries something more, a quiet tension, like the hush before a storm. Guests begin to arrive, filling the ranch with laughter and smiles. Familiar faces bring warmth, but in the shadows of those smiles lies an uneasiness that cannot be ignored. Heartland has taught its fans time and again that moments of joy rarely come without challenges. Today feels no different. Georgie sits quietly by her window, her veil draped around her shoulders, the bouquet trembling faintly in her hands. Her reflection in the glass shows not just a bride, but someone caught between two worlds. The girl she once was, and the woman she is becoming. Her eyes glisten, not only with excitement, but with doubt. Can she truly balance her dreams, her love, and her family? Or is this step too heavy for the heart she has fought so hard to protect? And then, in the midst of all this quiet preparation, something unexpected happens. A folded note appears, slipped into the hands of a bridesmaid with no explanation. No name written on it, no signature inside, just a message, short and sharp, enough to pierce the joy of the morning. The words whisper of secrets better left hidden, truths that could shatter the fragile peace of this wedding day. Georgie's hands tighten around the paper, her eyes scanning it with growing unease. She tries to steady herself, but the weight of the words is undeniable. Outside, the wind shifts. Clouds gather slowly on the horizon, stretching long shadows across the fields. Jack notices, his gaze narrowing, his instincts alert. He has lived long enough to recognize when storms are near, whether they come from the sky or from the hearts of those he loves. The breeze sharpens, carrying with it a sense of warning. The ranch, once glowing with calm joy, now feels different. The flowers sway harder in the wind, the ribbons tied to the fences pull against their knots, and the horses in the pasture lift their heads as though they sense the same unease. Everything looks beautiful, but underneath, everything feels fragile. And as Georgie rises, bouquet in hand, ready to take her first steps into the ceremony, her tears glisten more than they should. Are they tears of joy or of fear for what might come? The premiere of Heartland Season 19 doesn't just open with a wedding. It opens with a promise, a warning, and a secret waiting to be uncovered. The moment Georgie steps into the hall where her gown hangs ready, a silence seems to follow her. The soft rustle of fabric and the faint sound of voices downstairs fade into the background, leaving only the weight of the note pressed tightly in her palm. She knows she cannot ignore it, yet she cannot bring herself to show it to anyone either. This day is supposed to be about happiness, about promises spoken under the wide-open sky. But now it feels as though something unseen has crept into the heart of it all, threatening to unravel everything she has dreamed of. Her tears glimmer again, not yet falling, but close. Too close. They betray the storm inside her. Is this message a warning, a reminder of her past, or something even darker? The words echo in her mind like a whisper she cannot silence. Some truths can stay hidden. The phrase seems simple, but it cuts deep, stirring memories she thought she had already made peace with. Was someone from her past trying to reach her now, on the very day she was meant to look only toward the future? Or was it someone closer, someone in this very house who carried a secret too heavy to keep? Meanwhile, the ranch is alive with the bustle of guests preparing for the ceremony. Laughter spills from the yard where chairs are lined in perfect rows. Lou moves quickly among the decorations, checking details with the precision of someone who knows how fragile perfection can be. Yet even she notices Georgie's absence, her intuition stirring when the bride lingers too long behind closed doors. Amy, on the other hand, feels it more deeply. Sisters in spirit, if not in blood, Amy has always been able to read Georgie without words. She senses the unease in the air, though she says nothing. Sometimes silence offers more comfort than questions. Jack, leaning against the porch rail, doesn't need to see the note to understand that something is off. He has lived through enough weddings, enough family gatherings to know that joy always carries shadows. His hand grips the railing tighter as he stares out toward the rolling hills. The clouds on the horizon are no longer thin. They are heavier now, darker, edging closer with every passing moment. He mutters softly under his breath, words meant for no one but himself. Storm's coming. Inside, Georgie finally places the note down on the vanity, tucking it beneath the bouquet as though hiding it might make it disappear. Her trembling slows, replaced by a fragile determination. This day has been built not only on love, but also on the resilience she has carried for years. She cannot allow a few words, no matter how sharp, to steal it away. Yet the truth is plain, on her face. The note has unsettled her, and the audience can feel it. The music outside begins to swell gently, a signal that the ceremony is drawing near. Guests shift in their seats, their laughter softening into murmurs of anticipation. Horses shuffle in the distance, restless as though the air itself carries unease. Lou calls out instructions one last time, her voice steady but tinged with nerves. And then, at last, Amy appears at Georgie's side. She doesn't ask what's wrong. She doesn't mention the tears, the hesitation, or the way Georgie's hands shake as she adjusts her veil. Instead, she simply takes Georgie's hand in hers, squeezing it with quiet strength. The look in her eyes says everything. You can do this. You are ready. But are those words true? Georgie wants to believe them, but her heart wrestles with doubt. The note is still there, hidden beneath the flowers, waiting like a shadow in plain sight. And though no one else knows of it, the audience cannot forget. Its message hangs like a cloud over every breath of this wedding day. As Georgie descends the stairs, the energy shifts again. Guests rise, turning with warm smiles and glistening eyes. Jack straightens, his chest swelling with pride, though his eyes betray the mist of memory, seeing not just a bride, but the young girl he once welcomed into this home. Lou exhales in relief, satisfied that everything has come together, at least on the surface. Amy walks close, her presence a shield. Against the storm she senses but cannot name. The ceremony begins. Music drifts through the fields, wrapping the ranch in a kind of fragile magic. Georgie's steps are slow, steady, yet her eyes betray the tears she tries to contain. To everyone watching, they are tears of joy, the natural overflow of emotion on such a day. But to us, the audience who knows the weight of that folded note, they mean something more. They are tears of a heart caught between love and fear, between the promise of forever and the possibility that forever might not be as simple as it seems. And just as she reaches the aisle, the breeze picks up, scattering petals across the wooden path. The clouds overhead gather tighter, dimming the golden light. The ranch holds its breath, waiting. The audience waits too, caught in the tension of beauty balanced on the edge of something unknown. Because in Heartland, joy and sorrow always ride together, and today, Georgie's wedding walks that same line. But the wedding day is not just about vows, rings, and happy smiles. It's also a day where every hidden truth threatens to surface. As the ceremony inches closer, whispers spread among the guests like wildfire. Some say Georgie looks radiant. Others notice her moments of hesitation, her glances that linger too long on faces in the crowd. It is here that the true drama begins to unfold. For Heartland has never been about perfect fairy tales. It has always been about real emotions, raw struggles, and the secrets that can either bind a family together or tear it apart forever. The music starts and the guests rise from their seats. The first glimpse of Georgie walking down the aisle is unforgettable. She is stunning, her gown glowing under the soft light, yet her eyes betray a story deeper than any wedding dress can hide. For a fleeting second, her gaze shifts. Not to Quinn, her groom, but to the familiar faces of her family. Lou, standing, tall and emotional, Jack with his steady yet concerned look, Amy clutching Lindy's hand tightly as if sensing something unusual. The audience can feel it too. There is beauty, yes, but also tension, something unspoken hanging heavy in the air, and then it happens. Georgie stumbles slightly, her hand tightening around the bouquet. For the briefest moment, she looks as though she might falter. Is it nerves, or is it the weight of the secret she carries? The crowd gasps quietly, but Georgie quickly composes herself, forcing a brave smile. Still, that tiny slip tells us everything. This wedding is no ordinary ceremony. This is a moment where love, family loyalty, and hidden truths are colliding in ways no one could predict. As she reaches the altar, Quinn's expression softens. He whispers something, too low for the audience to hear, but Georgie's face reveals everything. She wants to smile, yet her eyes glisten with tears that are not entirely of joy. The suspense builds because viewers know what she knows. Behind every celebration in Heartland lies a storm waiting to break. But will it break now, in front of everyone, or will the secrets remain buried until the time is right? Meanwhile, the camera of the mind's eye shifts to the audience. Lou's worried glances, Jack's steady gaze that seems to pierce right into Georgie's heart, and Amy's quiet understanding that love is never easy. Each character holds their breath, silently wondering if Georgie will make it through the vows without the truth slipping from her lips. The tension is unbearable because everyone is waiting for that one unexpected moment. Then comes the most heart-stopping pause of the entire ceremony. The vows. Georgie's voice trembles as she begins to speak. Each word feels heavy, each promise layered with more meaning than the guests can imagine. And when her eyes fill with tears, the audience feels them too. These are not just tears of happiness. They are tears of conflict, of love, of fear. And just when it seems she might break down completely, she steadies herself, proving once again that Heartland women carry strength even in their most fragile moments. But the real question remains. What is hidden behind those tears? What unspoken truth is haunting Georgie in this moment when she should be the happiest? As she squeezes Quinn's hand tighter, as if drawing courage from his presence, the viewers know that something monumental is being held back. Something that, if revealed, could change the entire course of this family's story. And that is where the suspense thickens, because in Heartland, nothing ever stays hidden for long. But just when everyone thought the ceremony had reached its most emotional point, the story of Georgie's wedding took a dramatic turn that no one saw coming. The vows had been exchanged, the ring slipped onto trembling fingers, and the air was thick with relief and love. Yet beneath the surface, a storm was waiting to break, one that would test not just Georgie's strength, but the resilience of the entire Heartland family. Because in moments like these, when joy and love are overflowing, that's when life has a way of reminding us that happiness is fragile, and peace can be shattered in a single heartbeat. It began with a look. Small, fleeting, but impossible to ignore. As Georgie turned to walk hand in hand with her new husband, her eyes caught something in the crowd. For a moment, her smile faltered, barely noticeable to anyone else. But for Georgie, it was like time stopped. There, standing toward the back, was a face she never expected to see again. A figure from her past, one tied to heartbreak and choices she thought she had long since buried. And suddenly, her tearful wedding moment, so beautiful and hopeful, carried with it an undercurrent of fear and unresolved pain. The guests clapped, music swelled, and confetti floated through the air, but Georgie's mind was far away. Who had shown up uninvited? Why now, of all days, when she was stepping into her future with so much hope? Her husband squeezed her hand gently, unaware of the silent battle raging inside her. But in the shadows of her heart, doubts began to grow. Whispering questions she couldn't ignore. Could she truly escape her past? Could love built on promises stand strong if secrets still lingered? Meanwhile, the rest of the family sensed something was off. Lou's sharp eyes noticed Georgie's brief falter, the way her gaze lingered too long on the edge of the crowd. Jack, always the rock of the family, tried to brush it off as nerves, but even he couldn't deny the flicker of unease that had rippled through his granddaughter. And Amy, perhaps the one who knew Georgie best, felt it most strongly. She understood how hard Georgie had fought to get here, how many battles she had already survived, and she feared what this shadowy figure might bring to a day that should have been nothing but joy. As the celebrations continued, tension grew like a quiet storm cloud above them. Toasts were made, laughter filled the barn, and the first dance began under soft lights. Yet Georgie's eyes kept searching, scanning every corner, every movement. The mystery figure had vanished as quickly as they appeared, but the damage was done. The fragile piece of the day was cracked, and everyone could sense it. This was not just a wedding anymore. It was the beginning of something larger. Something that could either unite the family even more or tear open wounds they thought had healed. The questions hung heavy in the air. Was this face a threat to Georgie's happiness? Would her new marriage be strong enough to withstand what was coming? Or would this ghost from the past unravel everything she had worked so hard to build? And so, the premiere of Heartland Season 19 doesn't just leave us with a wedding. It leaves us with a mystery, a secret watcher, an unresolved past, and a bride caught between her joy and her fear. The tearful wedding moment may have been beautiful, but it also exposed a truth. No matter how far you run toward the future, the past has a way of finding you. And for Georgie, that truth could change everything. But just when everyone thought the storm had passed and the wedding could continue without any more heartbreak, another twist surfaced, one that would change the course of the day entirely. As Georgie steadied herself, standing by Quinn's side and gathering courage from the vows they were about to exchange, whispers began spreading in the crowd. A few guests shifted uncomfortably, their glances darting between the back of the venue and the bride herself. Something, or rather someone, had arrived, and the very sight of that person was enough to send a ripple of unease through the gathering. Georgie followed the gaze of her guests, her heart sinking as her eyes fell on a figure she thought she'd left in the past. It was Wyatt, her former flame, the boy who once knew every part of her heart, the one who had stood by her during some of the toughest years of her youth. Wyatt's sudden appearance felt like a ghost walking into a sacred moment, a reminder of old love tangled with regrets and unfinished stories. He hadn't come with malice, but the timing couldn't have been more destructive. And for Georgie, who had fought so hard to move forward, his arrival carried the weight of an earthquake. Quinn's eyes immediately hardened, not with jealousy, but with the deep awareness of what Wyatt represented. He knew Georgie had history with him, knew that Wyatt once held her heart in ways that were still difficult to put into words. And now, here he was, standing at her wedding, watching her in her bridal gown with a mixture of longing and sadness in his eyes. The room thickened with tension as though the very air had frozen, leaving everyone unsure of whether the ceremony could go on. Georgie's throat tightened, her mind racing. Why was Wyatt here? Why today of all days? Was it an attempt to win her back, to pour his heart out before it was too late? Or was it something else? Something Georgie couldn't yet see. The guests leaned in, sensing a storm about to break, while Lou's eyes darted nervously between Georgie and Wyatt, silently praying that this wouldn't unravel everything they had built. Quinn, steady yet visibly shaken, stepped closer to Georgie, as though anchoring her in the chaos. His voice was quiet but filled with resolve as he whispered, "It's our day, Georgie. Don't let the past take it away from us." His words pierced through the noise in her head, but the moment was still agonizing, because deep down, Georgie couldn't deny that Wyatt's sudden presence had reopened old wounds. The officiant hesitated, unsure whether to continue or pause, while the crowd waited in suspense. Georgie took a deep breath, her eyes flickering between Wyatt and Quinn, the man of her past and the man of her future. And for a fleeting moment, her silence felt like a decision in itself, a decision that could either shatter her new beginning or solidify it forever. Then Wyatt finally spoke. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried through the venue like a thunderclap. "I had to come," he said, his eyes fixed on Georgie. "I couldn't let you walk into this without hearing me one last time." The words sent a gasp through the guests, and the atmosphere shifted from celebration to confrontation. Every heart beat faster, every ear strained to hear what would follow. Quinn's jaw tightened, his patience tested, but his hand remained firm on Georgie's. She, however, felt torn in a way she hadn't expected. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, and yet here she was, standing at a crossroads between a love she once knew and the promise of a future she had chosen. The entire ranch seemed to hold its breath, waiting for her next move. Would Georgie listen to Wyatt and risk unraveling everything she and Quinn had built together? Or would she finally close the door on the past once and for all? The weight of her silence became unbearable, and just as she opened her mouth to speak, something even more shocking interrupted, something no one could have predicted. Because fate wasn't finished with Georgie Borden yet, but as the final moments of the Heartland Season 19 premiere unfold, it becomes clear that this wedding is not just about vows, love, and promises. It is about choices, consequences, and the truth that every relationship must face. Georgie's wedding, though filled with love and celebration, carries with it an undercurrent of unease. The ceremony might have gone on without interruption, but the shadows lurking in the background make it clear that this story is only just beginning. As Georgie and Quinn begin their married life together, many questions hang heavy over the family. Can Quinn truly provide the stability and security that Georgie longs for, or will the ghosts of her past and the challenges of her future threaten their happiness? And what about Amy? Her stoic smile during the wedding hid emotions she has yet to confront. She might have tried to appear strong for Georgie, but the sight of love flourishing before her eyes forces her to reflect on her own journey, the losses she has endured, the moments she still craves, and the uncertainty that looms over her future. Meanwhile, Lou and Peter stand at a crossroads of their own. For Lou, the wedding was a reminder that her daughters are growing up, making decisions that even a mother cannot control. Peter's quiet support throughout the day suggests that their bond is far from broken, but the subtle glances between them hint that there are conversations yet to be had, conversations that might reshape the future of their family. And then there is Tim. His gruff exterior, his unwillingness to express too much emotion, could not hide the storm raging inside him. For Tim, watching Georgie walk down the aisle was a moment of pride, yes, but also one of fear. Fear that she might one day face heartbreak. Fear that he too might be powerless to protect her. And perhaps fear that the choices of the past, the mistakes he made, are destined to echo into the lives of the next generation. Jack, ever the silent guardian of the family, seemed steady throughout the event. Yet his watchful eyes caught every flicker of hesitation, every unspoken tension. He knows this family better than anyone else, and he knows when the quiet before the storm is too heavy to ignore. His role in the episodes to come will not simply be that of a grandfather. It will be that of a protector, a voice of reason, and at times the bearer of truths that no one else dares to speak. And then comes the mystery, because what is a Heartland season without a thread of suspense woven into its warmth? A fleeting moment, almost too subtle to notice, sparks questions that linger long after the credits roll. Was it just the wind that knocked a flower arrangement at the reception, or was it a deliberate act meant to distract? Was the unfamiliar face seen lingering near the barn a curious guest, or someone watching from the shadows? For fans who know Heartland well, these small details are rarely accidental. They are breadcrumbs, leading us to greater revelations, deeper conflicts, and emotional confrontations that will shake this family to its very core. Season 19 has not only opened with love and hope, it has also planted the seeds of doubt, mystery, and drama that will blossom in unexpected ways. And so, as Georgie wipes away her final tears of the night, tears of joy mixed with something more complex, the audience is left wondering, is this the happiest day of her life? Or the beginning of a story that will test her heart more than ever before? Only time will tell. Because at Heartland, no wedding, no celebration, no moment of joy ever comes without the weight of reality. And reality is about to crash into their world with full force. The story of Heartland Season 19 doesn't just rest on the shoulders of Amy, Ty, Georgie, or Lou. It lives in the hearts of the fans who have carried this show for nearly 2 decades. And in this season, the writers have given us more than just a continuation of the story. They have given us a reminder of why we fell in love with Heartland in the first place. Every twist, every tear, every bittersweet smile, all of it weaves together into a tale of love, loss, resilience, and family bonds that refuse to break no matter how heavy the storm becomes. But the question that lingers is this: what do these moments mean for the future? Georgie's tearful wedding, her heartbreak laid bare in front of everyone she loves. Does it signify an ending? Or is it the beginning of a new chapter she never expected? And what about Amy, caught between her deep love for Ty's memory and the difficult reality of a life that keeps pushing her forward? Heartland has always been about choices. The ones that change us, the ones that define us, and the ones we sometimes wish we could undo. This season shows us that even the strongest hearts can tremble, but it is in that trembling that true courage is born. We've seen Ty return in memory and presence, not as a ghost, but as a force that still shapes the Borden family. His shadow hangs over every decision Amy makes, every step Georgie takes, and every moment Jack reflects on the legacy he leaves behind. It's as if Ty himself reminds us that love doesn't end when a person is gone. It lingers, it breathes, it fuels the choices of those left behind. And in Georgie's emotional breakdown at her wedding, Ty's absence was felt just as strongly as his love. The suspense isn't over. If anything, it has just begun. Because Heartland has opened the door to questions we can't yet answer. Will Georgie find her strength in heartbreak and turn it into triumph? Will Amy find the balance between cherishing the past and embracing the future? Will Lou manage to guide the family through turmoil while holding her own fragile world together? And what role will Jack play as the patriarch whose wisdom is both a shield and a sword when the family fractures? These aren't just plot points. They are the lifelines of Season 19, pulling us deeper into the world of Heartland, where no decision is